I'm the guy in the photo, obviously, Hamish. I'm the founder of Bridebook. Before Bridebook, I co-founded HelloFresh, the recipe kit company that hopefully some of you have used, but also I founded Heads a House, which is a wedding venue in Buckinghamshire with my brothers. So sharing lots of learnings from my experience I've been lucky to have. An enormous welcome. It is the wedding market update. And we have our big report has just come out. I hope some of you have already seen it. My goal today is to talk you through some of the highlights. Obviously, it is the end of January. It is the middle of engagement season, the busiest time of the year for wedding venues and suppliers, as a huge number of couples get engaged at Christmas. I'm going to talk you all through the metrics and all through the trends of this enormous report. Most excitingly, an enormous welcome to 116 new businesses who've entered our industry in the last month. Welcome to the best industry in the world. And we are here to help you thrive and give you an enormous welcome. So the agenda of today, I'm going to talk through the wedding cycle, this cycle through the year. I'm going to give you some insights on that. Then we're going to talk through some highlights of our 2024 UK wedding report. Then some of the key learnings out of it, and then some shout outs to the industry. We've got some exciting bits on the way as well. So to kick off, where are we in the cycle? I'm sure you've all felt it, a busy January. This is what happens. This is Google's traffic for weddings. Explodes. There's a bit of COVID, so it looks a bit different, but this is basically New Year's Day flying up through January, New Year's Day last year, the year before. This is where we're at now. So this huge wave coming through. This is what you want to absolutely capitalize on. It'll still be continuing till Valentine's Day. So you've got 2 weeks of it. You'll have a lot of couples come through, but make the most of them. This is an absolute booming time. And this is where 26% of proposals, so new engagements, happen in December. 11%, 1 in 9 proposals happen on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. So this wave comes through. They then have some fun with their families, but then January, it's sort of getting down to work and finding their venue is the first thing for couples who are often getting married about 18 months out. So for 2025 couples, and those couples getting married this summer are racing to get everything organized. And that's often a big wave of supplier searching and final supplier searching. So you want to absolutely capitalize on that. And this is the moment to do it. And I hope you've been doing it for the last month. As mentioned, the top proposal dates are all either in the last 30 days or in the next 2 weeks. So Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. So this wave comes through, and we want to help you be ready for it. So now some highlights from our report. Do make the most of this report. Our team do an amazing job. An enormous shout out to Erin, who's our head of insights. Who's done an amazing job on this, and so many other people at Bridebook. It's more than 80 pages. We interviewed over 8,000 couples. 68% are engaged, so in the process now. 32% got married last year. So we have this great depth of intel, and want you to use it. Use this for your pricing, for trends. I was I started a wedding venue called Heads a House, and building Bridebook was completely inspired from Heads. And one of the biggest things is being isolated in the wedding industry. We're most often small businesses, and it's very hard to know what's going on out there. And that's what we want this report. That's why I want Bridebook to help people to have not only community, but also some knowledge and intel of how we should be changing our prices, how we should be changing our offerings, how should we be reacting to Gen Z couples, the younger couples who are coming through now, which are a third of couples. This is our absolute Bible of this information. And it's very rigorous. I make a big cup of tea and spend a lot of time looking through it. It can be immensely helpful in all sorts of dimensions. So key themes from it. The first one is wedding spend has continued to rise and has reached a record level again for 2023. There was nervousness that in 2023 was the highest. There was nervousness after COVID, things would come back. After cost of living crisis, things would be coming back. But we're only seeing the trend going in that direction. The experience economy, couples wanting this amazing experience, and that's where they're spending more. There's a huge journey of building trust and connection. That's what couples are looking for when they're choosing businesses to work with. They're putting the most important event of their lives in the hands of someone else. They want to build that trust and know, right, you're going to deliver, and we're going to have a lot of fun talking to each other over a year in the build up. That's what they're hunting for, that connection. Price transparency, we bang on about this, but it is even more important than ever. I'll show you some charts on it shortly. Couples, one of the biggest nervousnesses of the wedding industry, it has this wrong perception. You're going to get overcharged, you're going to get ripped off, your price is going to get doubled, things like that. Everyone comes into this industry wrongly, very apprehensive about this stuff. And where it's non-visible prices and things like that, just smells wrong in a world now where couples expect to see prices for everything, whether it's a flight or a taxi or a takeaway or whatever, it's houses, everything has a price on it, Amazon. And then sometimes in our industry, people aren't showing their prices. I can do some strong recommendations. Showing your prices will help your business enormously. The pursuit of personalization continues forever, especially this generation now, millennials and Gen Zs. It's all about showing off their personality. Social media is their personality sort of digitized, and finding ways they want to create this absolutely hyper-personalized day. You showing off how you can help them do it is instrumental in securing couples. The party-friendly wedding venue, couples, the wedding is only growing. People want the night before, they want their friends staying the night, they want a great party. Guest numbers are increasing as well, so make the most of that. And then tech-first planning, hopefully very much led by Bridebook, but couples of today, they live on their phones. Everything they do is on their phones, and that's where they expect to deal with interactions. They're used to WhatsApping and TikTok. They're not expecting massive long emails and post and things like that. So moving into this digital world, which the whole rest of their lives are in, this is what they're expecting, and you embracing that can help enormously. So diving in, this is where one of the most interesting trends we've seen is a shift of more than 10 percentage points. This is where a huge rise into August, September, and October weddings. So this is of couples who are of where weddings are taking place, have moved later in the year, and actually spring has come quieter. This again is from 6,000 couples, so a very large sample size. You can see these trends moving through. Another piece is this continued journey of the decline of the Saturday wedding. So this is 5 years ago, so just pre-COVID, 57% of weddings were on a Saturday. That's dropped now to 48%, and it's continuing. There's a lot due to the hybrid world. People are happier to move to the midweek. It's not such a request now for people to take a Friday off or a Thursday off and a Wednesday off, versus before COVID, where hybrid work wasn't really that common. And then also, obviously, cost savings, moving into the midweek. We're in a more cost-conscious world, especially cost of living crisis and things like that. Couples are more aware of prices. Even though they're spending more, they're more aware of prices. And that's where you can see this growing number of people moving into Thursdays and Fridays, especially, and moving around. So thinking how you do your pricing there and how you help fill your midweek. And this is great in many ways, because couples are willing to get married in the midweek much more. And obviously, all of us only have a certain number of summer Saturdays. Moving into Fridays, Thursdays, that's where actually all your profit's going to come from. And also the trend, and it's a very strong trend. So again, pre-COVID, 30% of marriages happened in a church or a place of worship. That's halved versus last year. It's now down to 15%. And all of that is moving to wedding ceremonies, which has gone up from 59% to 77% now into approved premises, into venues. So civil ceremonies. And outdoors risen enormously for England and Wales, where the law now allows outdoor weddings post-COVID, versus pre-COVID that was only allowed in Scotland and Northern Ireland. So showing off, you can do an outdoor ceremony if you're an approved premises. and showing how you can do a beautiful ceremony. This is where 77% of marriages are now happening. So a huge swing. The number of wedding guests has bounced back to the number just before COVID, but continues to increase. This is where we're now seeing about 90 guests for the average reception and having 40 guests as evening only for those who are having evening only guests. And those numbers are all increasing. They're a little bit down versus 2019, but on this rise. Again, a lot of this we see is because couples of today have many more friends than previous generations because they're better connected due to social media and WhatsApp. It's easier to stay connected in this world than it was sort of pre-social media a decade or so ago. And that's where, you know, you've just got this bigger sort of sphere of influence. And that's where we see versus ages. So the blue is 20-year-olds, the turquoise is 30-year-olds. The younger the couple, the larger the guest count is, and this is sort of a sign of them having these wider groups of friends. And that's where we see that rising over time, or continues to rise, which sets the trend that over the coming years, these numbers will still be high and will move through, if not increasing. And on to costs, this is where wedding costs have increased yet again. If you look at total wedding costs, the average spend was, including honeymoon and engagement rings, now up at £26,000. That was £20,000 in 2019. So a significant increase again, just on the day wedding costs. It's now almost £21,000, 20,700, and pre-COVID it was 16,000. So a huge step. And this is where people want this experience. They're happy to pay for, you know, personalization and all these different things we're going to talk about, and show off how that's happening. It shows the industry's in an incredibly healthy place. You know, keen for your businesses to make the most of that. So some quick spending learnings or spending trends we see. The highest spend months were May and June, the lowest, I think, as expected, January and February. Couples saving on the midweek, saving if they move to in-house catering versus an external caterer, something couples will be aware of. And the most interesting is also on location. So London weddings cost average 77% above the national average, and Welsh weddings costing about 25% lower. So that's that spread and what couples are thinking of. So I'll grab a drink or a sip of tea whilst I catch my breath. Whilst I say that, I put in a quick bonus feature. We're doing something coming up. If you'd like to be part of it, we're doing quick 10 minutes of a quick fire deep dives on an individual challenge for different businesses. If you want to be part of it, we're doing Zoom calls. It will be recorded. We'll share clips on social media. We won't share any sensitive stuff, but that chance for myself or one of our Bridebook experts to deep dive a topic. If you've got a real problem, we'd love to hear it, and then also share those learnings with others. So grab your phone and scan that. You can quite easily quickly fill in your name, and we'll reach out, and I'll share the link as well when we follow up on email. So I'll sip my tea as I promised. On to some key points on the venue and supplier discovery process. So this is how a couple is behaving, and this is where price matching is the top challenge. So this is across both categories of venues and suppliers. When we ask 6,000 couples, what's their biggest challenge on the discovery process of a business? Every single point of price is above every other topic here. Okay, so finding value for money, finding their budget matches, finding transparency of pricing, knowing actually how much to spend, what's the right amount to spend, and all those journeys. We're doing a huge amount at Bridebook focused on this, always trying to improve it, always trying to educate the market as well, and encourage the behaviors that will help couples, which helps your business. Is very symbiotic. And that's where looking at pricing and showing off your prices, showing the interactions of how couples can move to the midweek or what other options you have, allows couples one, to know how much to spend, to sort of orientate themselves, feels very transparent, builds a lot of trust, help them find the right sort of slot for them, and feel like they're getting a value for money. And there's a thing called Goldilocks pricing. It's always good to give people a little bit of choice. And you can see, right, what's the bigger option, what's the smaller option. Most people go for the middle option, and that helps them guide it rather than just having a single price. But showing off your pricing, as I mentioned, is immensely important. So suppliers with pricing info get 4 times the inquiries as those that don't. And when we chat with these couples, venues, there are a lot of venues that hide their prices. This is one of our couples. I just exclude them. If it's price on application, people just either assume it's far too expensive for them, or they think something's a bit wrong and they prefer to go. And we see 4 times as many going to those who are showing off their pricing. So show off your pricing, brings a lot of confidence, doesn't scare people off. Have a range of prices so you can cater to more people, but give them that confidence of what's possible with you. Allows people. We did a big thing on the September wedding market update. I'd encourage people to watch back if you're focusing on pricing anytime soon. They're now available on Spotify as well with the video. I'll show you a little bit later. How are they discovering their suppliers? So this is where you can see some really interesting trends of this is Gen Z, is Gen X, sorry, is pink, millennials is the turquoise, Gen Z is blue, and you can see these trends. So the rise of social media, double the number of people finding their suppliers on wedding planning apps, and other ones, maybe the older, more traditional ways, recommendations from venues. These are flat, local knowledge has halved between these generations, past experience halving. And that's where this move to digital is happening. This younger generation, we all know their world is on their phones. They discover everything on their phones. They're not going to go into a travel agent. They're going to go on Skyscanner. They're not going to go into a estate agent. They're going to use Rightmove. That journey is what the world is like now. You're not going to go to a takeaway. You're going to order it on Deliveroo. That's what they're used to, on the sofa, doing all their discovery, finding things and discovering. So getting that digital presence is immensely important. And again, building trust and confidence. This is where they will look at a range of sources. So your website and your brochure and your Bridebook profile are all immensely important. They want that holistic view. They're going to check 3.8 sources on average before they contact someone. They want to see what's going on, how they can build trust in you. Finding reviews, we're going to talk about reviews in a moment, immensely important. And you can see some of these journeys, and we've spoken about it, I think it was in the October or November, fully focused on Gen Z. Instagram is more than double as important for Gen Z and millennials versus Gen X. Facebook's very flat, is a platform across all three. Something like TikTok, 8 times more important for Gen Z, and clearly on the massive rise. Video, double as important for Gen Z versus Gen X, and actually millennials exactly in the middle there. So this trend of moving to video and more immersive and more studying is the way everything's going. So I bear that in mind enormously. And again, back on Gen Z, the reason we look at Gen Z is that's the growing audience. About 1/3 of couples today are now Gen Z, which means they were born after 1996. What's important to them, that audience is only going to grow. So that's just setting the trends of the industry for years to come. So price is immensely important, as we're seeing here. That's above everything. Then they're on to style. Then they're looking at overnight stays for their venues, exclusive use coming after that. But that price piece being front of mind, then looking at style. But the pricing piece is how they orientate again and sort of discard and sort. So if you don't have any pricing, sort of already out, once they found, right, I'm happy with the pricing, now I'm on to style, what works with me. And then the enormous other important piece, which she's spoken a lot about, and this is, we've taken a snapshot here of how people find their photographers, is all about connection. So you see above everything here far above their actually portfolio is, do I feel comfortable with them? Do I like their personality? Even here, how important it is for Gen Z, it's how their communications are. It's double as important for Gen Z versus Gen X. And that building that trust and connection is a much more, these audiences are much more engaged and individual than previous demographics. And how you can show off your personality and how you can build that connection, responding to couples quickly, responding personally, not sending massive email replies, sending short, snappy personal responses as a sort of WhatsApp sort of chat messaging style, not here's, a 1,000-word essay on an email that you need a desktop computer to read. Like, being in their mind builds that connection, builds that trust, and then finding, right, you're the person. I want to take the most important photos of my life. I'm putting that in your hand to capture the most important memories of my life. That's what's in their mind, and that's how important trust is. The pace of booking, of first contact and booking, is very fast. Okay, so 60% of couples book their venue within 2 weeks of contacting them, and 80% within 4 weeks. So that wave coming through now, they've been doing their research, then they've been contacting, then they're going to be booking very quickly. So being ready to move fast, respond quickly, catch their attention fast. This is this wave that comes through that you want to capitalize on. And that's where, when they're doing their research or that discovery phase, you can see how immersive they want to go. So on our Bridebook couples, we see they'll look at 14 venues digitally. So they're looking at those 14. Then they're going to read on average 33 reviews about those venues to work out who they like. Then they're going to choose 6 to contact. So they're down to 6 now. Then they're going to visit 3 in person. They're going to choose 1. So they're only going to visit 3 venues. So it's a 33% chance of you winning that couple when they come to you. But when you're back at that 1 in 14, is much harder. So getting down that funnel, building trust, getting reviews. We always shout about reviews, get them. With photographers, it's a bit of a tighter funnel. They'll view 6 online, read 13 reviews because they're looking at less as a number. Contact 3 and book 1. But building that trust helps you get through each of those hurdles and be the lucky one they choose. And a big shout out, round of applause for the 3 businesses who got the most reviews in the last 30 days. May Media, well done. You got 21 new reviews on Bridebook. Shades of White, you got 23. And the Old Kent Barn, well done. You got 31. This is a brilliant time of year to be collecting reviews. Email all your couples from 2023. You're going to be moving into the past of their minds. So now's the chance to grab it. One last chance to reach out and say, please give us a review. All your new couples are going to be reading those, and that's the best way they can help your business. Screenshot them and share them on social media. Do stories every day. Whenever you get a new one, shout about it. And that's where now we have some shout outs to the industry. We always want feedback and always looking for reviews and shout outs. So I'm going to turn a poll on if I can figure out how to do that. Would love. I cannot see. Oh, here we go. Possibly. Whilst I'm doing the shout outs, would love you all to fill this in. First up, congratulations to all our Best of Bridebook winners. We had 300 or 400 winners. You've all been shouting on Instagram. This is people who got their reviews, got gold level and silver level reviews and things like that. Gold level was 15 plus, I think. Dorothy can correct me on lots of this, but it's absolutely brilliant. Show off these awards. You know, absolutely fantastically, and is wonderful to see. A big shout out to Glenmorangie House, who've got their incredible mascot giraffe in this amazing wedding venue, and they obviously have delicious whiskey as well. And they donate to support the giraffes of Edinburgh Zoo. So we thought that was a very nice touch and thoughtful one. A shout out to my own Heads of House team. We launched a new website for engagement season, and then they've been busy restoring all our bedrooms over the last 30 days, and they launch next week. Team will be working their socks off a big shout out to you all. An amazing shout out, anyone who's been watching Traitors, Jazz in Traitors, who was the penultimate finalist, is one of our Bridebook team and one of our account managers. I know she speaks to lots of you, but she had some time off last year. We're allowed to reveal it now. Jazz is an amazing team member, and she did brilliantly on Traitors. Well done, Jazz. We're incredibly proud of you. And thank you all. Loads of people have been giving us Trustpilot reviews. We always enormously appreciate them. And thanks for your support. We love feedback, and do give it to us always. That's how we improve. So that is it for now. I always talk very quickly. There are 80 pages, more than 80 pages in this report that you can go much slower through. Let me take that off the screen. 1 sec. There are 80 pages of this report. Take your time. Our account managers and your contacts at Bridebook, reach out if you have questions. We want it to be as helpful as possible. We're always wanting our industry to thrive, and this sort of data hopefully is an amazing thing to base lots of your big business decisions. 2024, 2025, want them to be amazing years for you, and we're always here to help as much as possible, and that's what this report's for. So on that note, a big thank you. Good luck. Busy weeks ahead. Crazily, I'm actually having a baby, and my wife is on Monday. So we've had a busy start of the year and exciting next week. On top of that, if you've got time, all the wedding updates are now on Spotify, so you can listen to them back, dive into topics we've referred to. And now we've got a bit of time, 2 minutes, but I can always roll over if people have to drop off. If you have any Q&A, do put them into the chat, and I'm very happy to do some questions now. And we run out of time. We'll follow up with that one-on-one Q&A link where we can do some stuff. So if you write your questions in, I can reply. So Anna said, are we missing bookings by not having bridal accommodation on site? What percentage increase in bookings are we likely to get with high-end bridal accommodation? So I'd have to have a look in the report. I could say anecdotally and from my own experience, you're talking about bridal accommodation. Yes, you mean this is on a place for the couple to stay either the night before or the night of. And maybe, I don't know if you have other bedrooms. From my own experience of Hedsa, us adding bedrooms, we did the first 7 years of Hedsa, we didn't have bedrooms, and then we added them, and they were transformative to the business. And one of the best things we ever did. So we added 10 bedrooms and a bridal suite. That's now known as the Lavinia suite, to be a more inclusive language. Lavinia suite is absolutely beautiful, and that really helps persuade couples fall in love with it, because it's a great place, because where you're getting ready is a very important place for photos. So I think even if you can't have people staying over the night, having a room that's absolutely beautiful for people to get ready in, and we used to have that actually before we had people staying over the night, is really important. So I definitely think that's significant. What we also launched last year is we now have a little lodge on the estate called the Hive, where normally the bride stays the night before. So they have a quiet evening. It only has 3 bedrooms, and they can get up early. They're already on the estate. And that's been this really thoughtful touch we've done. It's been very popular. It allows them to have a much calmer start to the day. If they're traveling from far away, they're not getting up at some crazy hour or traveling in, and just gives this more sort of fuller experience. So I'd highly recommend it. Obviously, it depends if you have space you can repurpose, or if you to build something new. Obviously, it's more of a decision. But I think that's a great thing to consider. Can I send a review link to anyone who's had a wedding here? Or can I mark couples or booked, or do they have to do it? So this is a Bridebook question. So on Bridebook, and any of your inquiries, you can mark them as booked. Also, they mark on their phone as booked. They can write you a review if you send them your profile. Also in your reviews tab on the CMS, on the platform, if you go on that reviews and testimonials, your link is there, which you can share with couples. You can also upload testimonials, because we know lots of people get thank you emails, they get thank you postcards, transposing those over, adding a photo. All of that is really, really valuable. We want as many reviews as possible, because that's what couples are looking for. So we want it to be a place you can do that. Do you have a supplier breakdown info, RE pricing? We have in the wedding report breaks down for every single piece of pricing. I'll put that on the screen. Someone was asking, kindly, were we able to give Bridebook a review? I meant to put that on before. Very kind. We always love Trustpilot reviews. If you have a moment, if you haven't ever given us one, scan it with your phone. I'd enormously appreciate it now. Oh, we send every single one around the company. We celebrate all of them. If there's someone you can name check at Bridebook, I would enormously appreciate that, because it means enormously to them. It's how we, keep motivated, and it's something we care about a lot. So do give us a review if you get a moment. How is venue only spend performing year on year? The wedding report has that data. It's going up year on year. It's the first item people spend, and it's the largest amount people spend. So it's really a sort of anchor point for spend, and that's including. Okay. Kim mentions, thanks for this. I work for an entertainment company and noticed a drop in sales converting. You mentioned the rise in wedding spend for 2023. Is this the same for 2024? So we do see this as 2024 as well. This is 68% of the responses are couples who aren't married yet, so their spend, for the year ahead. On sales not converting or being lower, there are a few things I'd really call out. One, to go and look at if you're doing a review or join one of our review sessions we're talking about. Do a 360 review of everything. So as we said, couples are looking at 3.8 touch points. So start at Bridebook. Normally, that's what we try and do as a company. We want to attract all the couples as early as possible. And then we're helping them, zero in on who they like the look of and favoriting, seeing an easy way of everyone in one place so they can find what's best for them. Then they're going to check, very likely, your website. If your website has a very different appeal or isn't mobile optimized and things like that, that can be really challenging. So think of that 360, ask a friend to go and look at stuff, test your cover photos on Instagram to see which of your photos actually gets the most engagement. That's a great way to know what to put on your profile. And then when couples are inquiring, that's where, and it sounds like from your conversion, being quick to respond is one of the most important things to do, responding in a personal way and also in a short, engaging way. People sending, and we often see it on trying to help people, have a copy paste template which is 1,000 words long, and they're just copying it over. Couples aren't used to that. They don't really know how to reply or what to do with that. Building a bit of rapport and engagement. Do you reply through Bridebook messaging? It triggers a notification on their phone, so it catches their attention. They can write a short message back. Build a bit of rapport on all your Bridebook inquiries. We tell you lots of the detail we know about the couple, so you can write engaging stuff, especially if you're a venue. We tell you the style they're looking for, words that are important to them, things like that. Pull those words out. The whole point of that information is so you can engage with them, and it's not just boring copy paste of 1,000 words that clearly goes to absolutely everyone. We want those replies of, oh, it's amazing, you got in touch with this. We just did something like that last week. Here's a link. Here's blah, 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 blah. Catching attention, asking short questions so they can respond, and then starting that momentum going. What is the guest count that this report is based on? Someone's asked anonymously. So the sample size is 6,000 couples. So that's a very large sample size. That's couples of all budget ranges and everything. We think it's a very, very representative sample size of the UK. We struggle to get clients to write reviews across several platforms. So one thing we do on that, how can we help? You can upload testimonials onto Bridebook. So if someone's sent you an email or you've sent a Google review, you can take that and put it onto your Bridebook profile. What we like couples to do is if you send them the direct link on Bridebook, then they actually write a few different things. They also can upload a photo of their wedding. They can, we get a more immersive. So if you look at some of the reviews, the couple can have their photo, and that which just connects with a couple more, whereas a Google review, you know, it doesn't actually know it's a wedding if you're a venue that's multi-purpose, things like that. But collecting those juicy reviews and then making the most of them at head. So we have every single one stuck up on a poster board in the office, which is so inspiring and exciting, sharing them on social media, printing them in a guest book. So when a couple's doing a show round, you can say, oh, well, you know, you got 5 minutes, here's a glass of champagne or Prosecco, here's some photos to look through, here's some guest quotes to look through. And once they've looked through a few, it just builds that confidence too, rather than like, have these people ever done a wedding before? Which, you know, people are very scared of. The second showing all these wonderful reviews and a depth of them and a sort of realness to them, then, you know, their social proof gives people a lot of confidence. We're a luxury exclusive hire wedding venue tucked just inside of Cornwall. On average, I'm finding that our couples are viewing 8 venues, which is far more than the national average. Has anyone either in the Southwest or luxury wedding venue sector experienced this? So I think that does sound more than the national average, and from all our data. I think the bit I'd look for is from our own experience as well. You want them to get as much information on your venue as possible, that when they come to the venue, actually they're just checking really that it's as good as it looks online. So we had a showcase at Headser last week. Literally a couple, I think, had come down from Leeds who I was chatting to. They said, we already had sort of booked it. We'd already confirmed it in our minds from doing our virtual tour. We have forgotten the name of it. There's one of those 360 walk through Matterport, called Matterport. They said, we just want to come down and check, you know, there isn't actually a cinema next door or something, which isn't the case. You want to get all that information over to them so they feel that confidence. And that's where they're having to go to 8. That would give me a suggestion. Perhaps behaviors they're doing a more old school approach, but actually I just recommend you could stand out by having a lot of information there, so that people are coming to you fully informed and ready to convert, and then you can stand out from the other 7 more. Kelly, congratulations on our baby. Are we having a boy or a girl? Well, I have 2 boys already, and I'm excited to say it's a girl. Hey! So on that note, I will wrap up a run over as always. We will send the follow-up and the recording of this. Go for it. It's a very exciting time in the wedding industry. So follow up to those couples quickly, get reviews from last year, digest the wedding report and make the most of it. And if you have any questions, we're always here to help and want to help you thrive. So thank you very much. And we'll see you at the next one in a month's time. All right, speak soon. Bye-bye.